has been so much hype around this film that since the past 2 days, I have been only doing a revision of all the shows and movies that make sense of the multiverse and its interconnectedness. There is already going to be so much chatter around this film, and even though I am a drop in the ocean, I still wanted to share my 2 cents about the film with all of you. Of course, I stepped into a packed theater early in the morning on a Friday because literally no one other than a Marvel or a DC movie or our very own KGF and RRR really motivate audiences to step into a theater. But here we are, expecting the first day collections of Doctor Strange to be close to 25 crores. That's pretty crazy. Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness is a Sam Raimi directed film taking the reins from Scott Derrickson, who was let go of the project due to creative differences. Kind of a bummer for me while stepping in for this film because I genuinely thought that the man did a spectacular job with the first film, and if rumors are to be believed, it's supposedly because he had a darker version of what we've seen on the big screen today. Irrespective, Raimi was just the right fit for the Doctor Strange universe, and this film focuses on Stephen Strange crossing paths with America Chavez, noticing that the elements from different realms are putting her under threat and are interspersing with the current world, only for Strange to realize that the years of manipulating with the timeline has caused chaos in the multiverse, especially with his acts in Avengers Endgame and Spider-Man No Way Home, where just through a temper tantrum by a high school student wanting to go to the same college as his friends, there was sheer chaos. And of course, there's Wanda. If I was a part of the creative team, she would definitely have her name on the title of the movie. But hey, I'm a nobody, so let's get to talking about the movie. There is a lot to pack in without me giving anything away, so here's me telling you the good and bad aspects of the film so that you guys can ultimately decide whether to go for Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness in theaters or not. Who am I kidding? You're gonna go for it anyway, screw it. Context and homework matters. Usually the case with the MCU is that most of the context can be taken from the timeline in which the films have released, but with the multiverse expanding and characters having several possibilities, arcs and versions of themselves in different avatars, it for a noob will be a lot to pack in. So it's important to understand that for the real impact of this film and for the context to immediately get imbibed in theaters and for you not to be zapped on why people are hooting and cheering in some cases, or understand at least what happened in WandaVision and the animated series What If, just to understand the emotional arc of a character like Wanda and what transpired in Westview and the several plot points explored in What If, especially the What If Doctor Strange lost his heart instead of his hands episode. A lot of this film's build up has already been etched out by the TV shows, so fans would know each and every moment and its significance, and if you're going with a clean slate, you might miss out on several of those moments that make it magical just because you've been on a journey with these characters even when the movies have not released. The background score. One of my favorite aspects of DC films is the significant role that the music composers play in enhancing the screenplay of the movie. If you look at some of my favorite DC projects that involve the score which was provided for the new Batman, the haunting rendition of Ave Maria, or you look at the score provided for the Joker and the eerie tone that the composer set in several of the sequences, especially highlighted in the iconic moments of Arthur on the steps. The music holds such an integral part of the film's narrative, and I can't say the same for most Marvel movies besides basically Guardians of the Galaxy, which was an ode to the greatest hits of the 60s and 70s, and my favorite, Thor Ragnarok. Doctor Strange, however, is different gravy altogether when you compare it to most Marvel films with respect to its soundtrack. Beautifully etched out by Danny Elfman, it enhances the horror movie tropes and set pieces, and there is a careful use of silence in the sound design of the film, which integrates Elfman's music in the action face-off also, which is artistry at its finest. The sound design of this film through many sequences demands for a sense of stillness before the chaos ensues, accounting for very well designed and choreographed set pieces. Uniqueness but barely being explored. The film is extremely unique from the perspective of the lineup of Marvel films, the pitch at which they are presented, and the usual beats of the screenplay that they follow. Sam Raimi, director of the Spider-Man franchise and the creepiest films like Evil Dead, really channelizes his ability as a filmmaker to invest you in the horror set pieces, which according to me are the best part of this movie. Raimi, through the use of editing and jaw-dropping visuals, invests you with the jump scares and a unique use of the camera, taking audiences away from what they can expect from a regular Marvel Marvel movie. Many people will welcome such change with open arms, but I can understand why fans won't be invested with the same as well. Sadly, what needs to be admitted with this film is that it can't balance between being a Marvel film and a spooky, horrific take on superheroes across the multiverse. In the end, the film becomes neither of the two, only standing out because of its individual set pieces, but holistically becoming a drag and an experiment with treatment not worth taking. The fact that Scott Derrickson apparently wanted to make an even more demonic version of the same makes me speculate about what that vision was and why it wasn't accepted. Sam Raimi and Elizabeth Olsen show. One of the major reasons why Doctor Strange is partly engaging more than the ability of Sam Raimi as a filmmaker is the convincing performance by Elizabeth Olsen. Where we left the character with WandaVision and the emotional turmoil she has undergone gets reflected here, and you need an exceptional performer to make you believe the same, and Olsen shines like the formidable talent that she is. What transpired in Westview and living in absolute denial of reality absolutely consumes her, and her integration into this story is etched out the best way possible. Sadly, this is not the case for other characters. America Chavez, a character introduced to the comics in 2011, has a great dynamic with Strange, but her traumatic origin story of Union Parallel is barely glanced upon. Emotional moments that should suck you in leave you high and dry, because just like the duo is on the run to find a solution, so is the screenplay, frantically running around, eventually becoming messy in its execution. This is not to fault the actor playing America Chavez, but the writing and how poorly her story is expanded upon. Benedict is as dependable as a performer, but there was so much potential in exploring the complexities of the multiverse and his relationship with Christine Palmer. How is it that the episode of What If made me emotional, but the movie could not extract the same from me, even in the slightest? Someone rightly pointed out to me on Twitter that this film is not actually the multiverse of madness, and without further dwelling deep, something that may ruin the film for you, I'll just tell you to manage your expectations. Something that no one should be instructed while going for a Marvel movie. The bar can't be this low, especially for the scale at which these films are presented. Lack of madness and cheesy abundance. The film brushes upon the complexities of the multiverse with such convenience that it actually takes away from the ingenious setup that the creators did over the course of several films. If you strictly see it from a complexity perspective, honestly the storyline of this film is as simplistic as it gets. Most superhero films have convenience galore stamped upon its screenplay, and this is precisely what happens here as well. Characters waking up at the exact right moment and getting away from trouble in the nick of time. The trailer really may have set you up for a lot of moments to deliver in terms of fan service, knowing very well how the universe is going to expand after this, but trust me, you shouldn't keep your hopes riding on the sneak peek you got in the trailer. By the way, I think the marketing of this film has really done a huge disservice to it, and will realize this in the long run. This film is to be experienced for its unique treatment and integration of horror elements, which it only successfully does partly. The fan service, callbacks and cameos are few and far between, and the magic and hysteria of No Way Home just cannot be recreated. Somebody told me, "Why are you so harsh? If you keep your expectations low, you would have had a great time." That, my friend, is simply giving wings to mediocrity in terms of storytelling, and I can't stand for that. Multiverse of Madness ended, but I was still seeking for the madness that it promised. And that was a video, guys. Write down in the comments below what you thought about the movie. Please don't forget to follow me on Instagram. The handle's right in front of you. Follow me at JammyPants4. Also, please support us by smashing the like button and subscribing to our channel for weekly content ahead. Thank you for watching.